Hello, storytellers. I'm going to do basic game mechanics of the Dark Ages, and this is also the game mechanics for the Apocalypse setting and the Creatures in Space, although they have laser weapons and things like spaceships. But I want to go over the basic game mechanics for the Dark Ages, so let's do that. So, there's really only a few rules, few pages of rules. So, this is the beginning of the book, little intro stuff, and then here's making the character. And this explains. I try to like do little quick blurbs of everything and explaining everything. So you really got to read this to get the basics of the game. And then down here it explains what the traits are, all 6 traits. Very similar to OSR's, the D20 system, but I've added and changed a few things to solve some of the issues of the D20 old school role-playing games like old Dungeons and Dragons and stuff. Like, I don't have level caps. You don't hit 4th level or 10th level and the game becomes unwieldy. Okay, there's not a level cap. You can keep playing the same characters for a long time, and I'll explain how that works. And you just don't get overpowered, and your characters throughout the entire campaign stay the same. You get better. You get better at your things. You get better at your skills. You get better at your blessings and how you use them, and your evangelism. You get better at that, and you get more support from as you plant churches. But I can still throw bandits at you, and it can still be dangerous. And that's what I love about this game. And so that's why I'm sort of stuck on this. And I'm not, I'm stuck on it for the Lord, but the system itself, I thought about making it simpler, even simpler than how simple it is. But I wanted these mechanics in there that made it so that you can keep playing the same character over and over and over. I've got a guy playing, or the game system I have, 50 episodes, and then we have a new player comes in, fits right in. It's not like there's a demigods and then you have a first level. Okay, so you can pick a warrior, a clergy, a patron lady, and a nun. And the women are completely different than the men. Physically, they're much weaker creatures. So absolutely, and they have their own ways and means of doing things. And I want that. I'm not erasing women in my game. Women are women in this game, and they have things to do, plenty to do. And okay, so they have little bit weaker vitality, and weaker, and they do not have the same prowess as men, right? The physical exertion as men. So they got to think of it in a different way than men, and that ticks me off about all these role-playing games now, trying to act like equality. Their equality is erasing women. That's what their quality is. And all this stupid woke stuff. Okay, so though this is for the Kickstarter, I'm gonna do a Dark Ages. I'm gonna add a little more. I'm adding like 30 pages to the rule book, and this is like, well, I'm gonna add some skills and ideas for the characters, so you just kind of understand how things you could do. I have not been wanting to do that. I've not been wanting to add skills in this, a list of skills that you have, because I want. And I'm a 45-year veteran of GM or whatever DM. I want the players and the GM for them to explore their characters as they role play and start picking skills that come to their mind, when they're playing the game. I wish I had this. Okay, we'll start. So you can name your own skills in this game. The players can. They can decide what skills they want. I want sewing. I want one of the patron ladies on her cart to start a skill where she drops a rock on anyone that comes near her cart. It worked. I think she rolled like a nat 20 for the first one before she even had the skill, and I was like shocked. And that made me realize that you can turn that into a skill, So that character has rocks, a couple big rocks in her cart. So if some baddie comes up and tries to steal stuff and she's there, she can do a little attack like that. See, so women do have physical attacks they can do, and obviously she's using gravity, and obviously they have to come to the cart. Blah blah blah. But you can pick your own skills as you go along in the game, and that's what I want. The players don't know what to do then. Exactly. That's exactly where you want them to be. So Dungeons and Dragons, all these games, they act like, you have a free game or whatever, like a role-playing, go wherever you want. But they actually funnel you down their character classes. They funnel you, they give you all these choices of feats and abilities and traits, but they're really just forcing you down a narrative path, when in those character classes. And I don't like that. I think that's that's Plato's cave. You're looking at an illusion. You're looking at the shadows on the wall as opposed to the real world out behind you. And the real world is like you don't know where you're going to go and what you're going to do, and what you're going to come up with, and what you're going to desire to do, unless you are at that point where you don't know what to do, and then you got to start doing it. And that's what I love. So that's why this is blank. Now I'm going to add lists and ideas, but I definitely still want the players to have their own journey and not look at a grocery list of options. So this is the character sheet. Very simple. This is me trying to explain it with some blurbs here. Name stuff. Here's where you put your traits, and they're like D&D as far as like +1, +2, +3, +4. And you actually get that. You just get +3, +2, +1. You just assign those numbers to wherever you want, and then you can upgrade them. The faith points is the same as your spirit, and that's what you spend on blessings like heal. So if you have a spirit of 3, and then you can upgrade the die ranks as well or you can upgrade it so you can get more per day or per encounter, and those you spend on heal. So if you want to heal someone 3 faith points, 3. We use die ranks down the game. So 3 is a D4, D6, a D8. So a D8. You roll a D8, and it can heal them up to 8, vitality. And yes, you can roll a 1. I love that about this game. You can roll a 1 in this. Same with skills. Skills. Here's weapons. You have your to hit, which is basically for melee. It's prowess. For archery and aiming stuff, even like light daggers and stuff like that, it's awareness. Okay, and that's your to hit in here. You can upgrade that with die ranks. Die ranks is D4, D6, D8, D10, D12. You buy with a glory point, which is experience points. You buy a 1, you spend 1, and you get a D4 to add to your plus, prowess or whatever, and the D20, right? You roll a D20 for everything, for skills or weapons or combat or whatever, and you add a trait. You pick a trait. Every skill roll, every combat roll has a trait connected with it, right? For intellect, that's for crafting. It's for runes and clues and things like that. It's for smartsy stuff. Society is for debate, persuasion, performance, bard, doing a bard, doing a wit, all that society, right? Even understanding society, like understanding banners and heraldry. Savvy is kind of like my thief, engineer, technician type of, well not engineer. Engineer's intellect, but savvy's like the technician, the repair guy, the thief who does all the pick locks, traps. It's your inclination of proclivity to be savvy. Awareness is like it's kind of like see. I believe awareness is really what it is, not dexterity or agility. I don't think when someone says they're dexterous and agile, then that's what they get for their. In my experience, fat goofy guys and gymnastics people can have the same, to me, ability in that. It's their awareness. It's your awareness that makes you more agile and dexterous, not because you're a gymnast. A gymnast can still be clumsy in the real world, like not be able to do things even though they're super stretchy and always doing gymnastic stuff. Anyway, that's just my opinion on it all. Prowess to me is strength and agility, like how you use it. It's not really how strong you are, it's how you use it. That's what I've experienced in my medieval armored combat. So I've seen big, strong dudes that cannot fight, and little crazy dudes that are little, kicking butt. So it's all about how you use it. Okay, damage. Damage is let me see right here. Damage of the weapon is very similar to D&D and old school, role playing games. But you can actually upgrade these. That's right. You can upgrade these with your experience points. You can, glory points. You can actually go from your dagger can go from a D4 to a D6. Yep, to a D8. It costs a D6 is 2 ranks, right? So it costs you 2 glory points. And if you make that dagger go up to a D8, that costs you 3 glory points. And if you make that dagger go up to a D10, that costs you 4 glory points. So you keep adding them. Why do I do that? I have a video of me fighting on the Pell with weapons, because I, in my experience, have experienced that and trained that way. I train knowing about how to hit, which to me is a series of more and more attacks and more agility, more accuracy. But there's also another aspect of training, which is really using physics and strength. It's very different from tapping someone, which is your to hit, and then getting those taps to act. That's a form of training. And then the next level is getting the damage to really really get those hits in there solid. So that is the two different ways you can improve your weapons. You can upgrade these, and remember, these equate to die ranks. So a greatsword with a D10 there damage is 4 die rank, 4 die ranks. So you got, in order to raise it up to 5, it costs you 5 glory points, and then you now have a D12 damage greatsword because of your skill in using damage. Now you can go above D12, and that's the dice pool. So if you're at D12 and you want to add another to the greatsword, you get it. You start over with another D4. So you get a D12. I don't know why I'm doing it this way, but whatever. You get a D12, that's a D12, and then you get a D4. So it's a dice pool now, your skill. So that's not that great, a D4 and a D12, and you pick the highest. You roll both and you pick the highest. But it still can help, What if you roll a 1 over here and a 4 over here, But the intent, obviously, of someone that's doing this is they want to get this up, to another, like, imagine you have a sword, a great sword, and you have a D12, dice pool, right? And keep the highest. So you always have, like, a chance of getting a higher number. But that costs a lot of glory points, and that's you expending that. So having this 2d12, say, damage, and you just keep the highest, you're still not overpowered. You're still not like super, a superhero. You can still roll 2 2s. You still have there's still that possibility there. That, and by the way, this whole thing here with a d12 and another d12 in your skills, so that's 10 die ranks. This is you have a 10 die rank skill, 10 die rank to hit, 10 die rank damage, whatever it is. You see, you can still roll a couple of 1s. You can still roll a 1 and a 3, and it doesn't help as much. So you're not overpowering. You have an average, a mean, right? Is it a mean or an average? That a bell curve as you go up in skills that you can sort of get more and more higher, a chance of getting higher and higher rolls. But you don't have a constant, like a constant plus 10, a constant plus 12, whatever, like it ends up being in D&D. And I love this. I love the whole dice pool thing. It adds another element of fun to it when you have, a D12 and a D12 or a D12 and a D8, in there, and you're rolling it, and it's fun. It's cool. Trust me, it is. So that's the weapons. It has a burden. You can carry 2 mediums, 3 heavies, 4 lights, and you can carry more, but then you get a die rank penalty. And by the way, whenever there's a die rank penalty, like for being burdened or for being wounded, or which is grievous wounds and afflictions. Grievous wounds and afflictions will happen in the game, so you'll be at -4 die ranks. If you go past 5 die ranks, if you go to 6, you're dead. That's the grim brutalness of it, because a 6 die rank wound or poison to get even together, they can combine and upgrade together. So if you have a 2 poison and 4 wound, that's 6. You're at -D12, -D4. You're dead. Your body just cannot take that much wounding, and that's separate from your vitality. You could have full vitality, which is hit points. You could have 15 vitality, but if you take 6 die ranks worth of affliction, grievous wound, you're no life saves. There's a life save in the game, but you don't get it with that. So that's the love of this too. Now, thankfully though, if you have armor, you can split up. If you ever get grievous wounds, not even the poisons, that's terrible. You can't do it with poison, obviously. But if you get any grievous wounds, when you're getting hit by weapons, and you get those generally with a nat 20. So if I get hit with a nat 20 and I get 4 grievous wounds because of the damage, I can split up or take some of that grievous wounds and put it on my armor, and the armor is damaged. So your armor can get damaged. So you have some opportunities there to transfer that damage to your armor. Now, if so you better get an armor skill, blacksmithing skill. You better bring some blacksmithing tools or whatever your armor is along with you on the trip, kind of a thing. Yeah, and then it's hard to repair too. Like I will give you like a difficulty rolls, and you got to repair it, blah blah blah. But if you are, by the way, penalized with negative die ranks, you don't. This is what I love too. The players don't have to worry about those. They just roll their normal rolls. The GM will take those as a bonus on his side. So if someone is at -4 die ranks in their wound or whatever, I love this about the game. They don't have to like subtract it from their skill rank or whatever, because if you're at -4 die ranks because you're wounded or whatever, every roll could be a -4 die rank roll, right? Everything you do, because you're in pain, you're in broken bone, you're limping, whatever it is. So the GM just takes that 4 die ranks, which is a D10, And I, as a GM, will add that to my the difficulty of something. I will add it to the defense of the opponent they're trying to hit. I will do that, and it's way better, more smooth. And sometimes I forget to use it, so which is fine. They got away with me not using it on that turn or whatever. But I get to use that against them. That's how that works. So if they're cursed and grievous wounds and afflictions like poison and disease, those all combine. But if they got like a flash of blinding light, that would not take them over the edge and kill them, right? You would still add that to their penalty, but Jim, you got to keep in mind that if they have 7 die ranks and only 4 are from a real physical pain and 3 are from the blinding, you don't kill them because of that. But if they have a blinding light then they'll have -7 die rank, which I will take on my end, which is a D12 and a D6, and I will roll it, keep the highest, and add it to whatever I'm doing on my side. By the way, just real quick, there are ways that those dice actually add up and not do a dice pool keep highest, right? If you have an holy sword, that will actually add a die and not combine with your skill die. I'm going off on a little tangent there. But like, for instance, power armor versus regular armor. So if you have a regular armor that's at D12, D6, really, really well made, D12, D6, dice pool. So you roll, keep the highest for your armor save, right? D12. But if you have power armor that's D12, D6, if it's power armor, it's basically like the armor in a shield, like an energy shield, power armor. And so those actually add together. So you have that option in the game to have these like super powerful things like power armor, holy armor, do that kind of thing. But regular, well-made armor, engineered armor, blacksmithing, exceptional Italian, Milanese, whatever, cold steel armor. That's all like a D12, D6, keep the highest kind of thing. Except, and same with damage. Like if you have a sword, an amazing great sword that does D12, D6, keep the highest. But if you have a holy sword, D12, D6, the D12 is the regular amazing sword, and the D6 is the holiness. So they add together. So that's kind of cool. And you can have a D12, D6, keep the highest holy sword with a D6 as separate add on too. So that's crazy higher level stuff. Again. Yes, you can get more and more powerful like that, but you don't break the system. You still have weaknesses. Your vitality, generally speaking, in the vitality range, which is hit points, is it starts off with it shows it right here. Vitality is for men is a 6 plus their prowess, and then a D6 roll. So generally speaking, they're going to have maybe at the most 16 or 15, and when they start, and then they don't go up unless they put in glory points. There's a list, by the way, of glory points down below. What you can where is it at? It's just right at the end. Where is it at? Right here, glory points. So this list here has all the things you can upgrade, with the glory points, and obviously vitality is one of them. Let me so here's the rules for characters. It stops right here at glory points. Glory points is the last thing. Ends the character rules. That's 1. Here's the blessings. I'm going backwards. Here's rules on the blessings. Here's damage, for combat live, just damage, grievous wounds and recovery and all that. This explains the die ranks, and I'll explain that in a sec here. And die ranks, this explains die ranks to dice pool. This explains die rank results, which is for repairs, healing, upgrades, looting, salvaging, looking for treasure. And this is a couple extra rules and game mechanics, yeah, and combat. I think I'm done. And then this is the character sheet. That's all the rules you need. See, very light system, very easy to use. And this whole die ranks to dice pool is me solving the issue of going up, upgrading levels, and not getting too powerful. So let me go back to the character sheet. Blessings and skills, I'll explain here in a sec. Oh, well, skills I did explain. You just, you pick skills and go with it. So here's your weapon chart. This is just for the beginning weapons of medieval. The styles is optional advanced play, where I wouldn't worry about them until your characters or players start to get used to the game, just the basic damage. And they can even inquire about them, or you can add it to them when they want. But basically, let's say for the dagger, I've made the dagger be dangerous. The dagger can be very dangerous. That's what I don't like when you have a dagger. It's just D4, right? Regular games. So I give it a style. the lethal 4 and bleed 4. So a nun or a patron lady, generally they can only get a dagger. I would suggest they only get a dagger or a light crossbow, and they do. And they can be pretty lethal if they want. They have a woman's talent where they can feign, like feign a man, like get him off guard, and then they can, do a dagger. I mean, I know Christian women doing that, but hey, sometimes you got to do that. So if you do 4 points of damage, and this is after an armor save, so if they're armored, it's going to be harder, right? But if you're, think about real life. If you're not armored and you get stabbed by a dagger, you could die, on the first hit. It's not just D4, it's lethal. So if they do 4 points of damage, and remember, they can increase this damage up with their skills, with their upgrading by skills. Okay, but if you do 4 points of damage, lethal means that they take a grievous wound based off of that. So, they're in and bleed, so they're gonna bleed to death. Bleed is just 1 vitality per turn, but most of the creatures in here and people here have between 8 and 20 vitality at the most. So they're gonna be dropping 1 per turn, and then they're gonna start dying basically. You can, as an option, do the die rank result, which is what I do now for grievous wounds, and I'll explain die rank results. But it's basically how much you over whatever number you needed, how much you get over that. So if I needed 12 and I got 22 on my roll result, is a die rank result. So that's 10 difference, right? A difference of 10. Half that is 5 die rank results. So that's a D12 or whatever that is meant to be. I can use that then for, let's just say bleed 4. I don't use this in the game, but I'm just explaining this in a sense. Let's say that the nun stabs a bad person in the back, they're not paying attention, whatever, and does 8 points of damage to them, right? So I have bleed 4 there. So the person is bleeding from the stab wound. They did 8 points of damage to them. Wow, whatever the reason for that. But so that's 4 points above the needed damage. Half of that is 2 die ranks, so it's a D6. So I roll a D, so they can roll a D6. They roll a 3. So their person is bleeding 3 per turn, not just 1. That's just an extra little. I just do 1, keep it simple, but that's a little extra, like crazy. If you want to go really grim and gruesome, which I will do in my new Gothic RPG version of this that's coming out at some point. So gear, you pick gear, and gear is based off of like skills and how I put a list here of what it's kind of for. Camping and cooking gear is for resting well. So resting well is important, right? And if you do all this cooking and camping, you can actually add bonus inspired die to your players, just like with prayer. So that's the die rank result thing over here. I'm jumping to the die rank results. But die rank result is like, based on how well you get that roll, you can actually add inspired die, which is hey, I got 4 inspired die, right? I've collected due to a good rest, prayer, whatever. I got 4. Well, what can I do with those 4? Well, I could use it as a D10 and add it to something, or I could use 1 and add it, one of them. I could use one of them and add it to my roll and give it an extra die rank, upgrade from my skill up one more. I could use 2. You know what I mean? You keep, it's like inspired points, but you get these die ranks, and you get to, and every little thing can help, for getting a die rank result. So if I roll again, if I do camping and the GM tell them it's a 12 difficulty, which is default, I could change that number, but it's a 12 difficulty. I could say, well, it's raining, so I'm going to add a die rank difficulty there. So I'll roll a D4, 1 die rank. Let's say it's a 2, so the 12 difficulty goes to a 14. So you need a 14 or higher to get a good rest, And so they're like, well, I got cooking gear. I got camping gear. Okay, I'll give you die rank for that. I got, that's all I got. I don't know. We're going to do a really good fire. We're going to do it underneath the canopy of the trees. I'm like, okay, fine. Another die rank for that. I give them like, that's what I love about die ranks. If they can describe cool things, I will give them die ranks, Or if I describe something harrowing, each factor of that description becomes a die rank difficulty, right? Like I always use cliff wall. There's a cliff wall there. It's not that high, so 1 die rank. But it's wet because of the rain. 2 die ranks. There's a lot of vines on it. You know what? I'm gonna take 1 die rank out. It's only one die rank. So 12. Roll my D4. Roll the 2. 14. So it's a 14 to climb up that little cliff. You could do that kind of thing. You could be really descriptive using die ranks. Every description becomes a die rank, whether it's a positive or negative or whatever. And it's fun. I really like it because it really helps me simplify my decision-making process, for what difficulty something is. I start with a 12 and then die rank it. Okay. And And again, they can use their inspired die. Okay, so anyway, so that's this. This rules on gear, the burden. This is rules on wear and tear, optional stuff. It's optional stuff. You can arbitrarily, not arbitrarily, but through the story, give them die rank penalties for gear, and they have to go back and repair them. And that's cool. And I will use that against them. If they're using a -1 die rank cooking gear, right, got damaged in a fight or whatever, or they dropped it or whatever. So the next time they cook, I will say it's a 12, and then I will roll a d4 and add that. Now it's a 14, roll a 2 and a 14 for them to cook. So it's a little harder, but so, and then a lot of the cooking too is fun because they will have, I have salts. Oh, okay. I've got some sausage. Oh, well, I'm going to give you 2 die ranks for that. 1 die rank for the herbs. The cooking gear is a spectacular Cuisinart, gear. All right. 2 die ranks for that. And by the way, all the gear can have die ranks, bonus, well-made die ranks. You know what I mean? Like, so it's unlimited the amount of die ranks you could add to the gear as well made or holy or magical, just using those terms, magic items. The weapons can have it. Everything can have die ranks, so you're unlimited in the sort of treasure and salvage they can find, and it doesn't break the game. That's the thing I love. You can continually give them die ranks and it won't break the game. I mean, if they're always rolling with 30 die ranks, it might break the game, okay, but it just takes forever for that to happen, right? And it's a slow, ridiculous process. But in the game now that they've been playing for 50 episodes, 3 hours each, they're getting to the 10 to 12 to 14 die rank mark on prepared type of things they're doing, like engineering and repairs and fixing stuff. Talking about the sci-fi one. So it's not really, and they've failed. There's like a 50-50 chance they're going to still fail. So it's awesome. But you can add die ranks to things that they find, like in salvage and stuff. I like to give a lot of inspired die that they spend. So that's another way. Just this item gives you 2 inspired die because you got it and you're going to return it to the church or whatever. So I like to do that too. So it's not always a permanent die rank bonus. So you can do that kind of option as well. Combat is I love the combat. I do combat. Let me just go back to my full screen here real quick. I do combat, and actually today I'm going to go be in a pro fight, which I'm not actually going to be in a pro fight because I've been training for a pro fight, but the other opponent is injured. So some new kid is going to help out and fill in that spot, and I'm going to demo with him. I am ready to do 3 rounds, 2 minutes, hardcore, medieval armored, full steel. That's my helm right there. Those are my flashy weapons. I actually don't use those weapons. I use some other ones, but bigger ones. But later today, I'm going to go do a pro fight, but I'm not going to be able to do the pro fight. I'm now a demo. Anyway, and I'm getting older. I'm 55, so I'm probably the oldest guy out there fighting. And I feel great, but now I'm going off on a tangent. I'm at peace. I don't want to fight. I literally don't want to fight anymore. I enjoy it for sure. And it's neat. It's good. And it's good to, but time wise, logistics wise, I'm very busy. So with other things, and it's a time consumer, and I want to spend time with more time with my wife. Actually, I'm kind of in that empty nest stage. I want to keep working out and staying healthy and staying strong and fit and maybe jump in once in a while to fight. But I do not want to dedicate my life to that. And it's not heavy it's not, it's very loosey goosey, but I do want to spend more time with my wife, oddly enough. So it's fun though, but it's a lot of work. Okay, back to combat. Sorry. I want to work on this. I want to these weird channels. Okay, I love doing this too. Anyway, okay, I took out initiative. So initiative to me is just who wants to go first. Boom. Whoever jumps in, like I will kind of push my enemy on them, like okay, they're gonna do, and it's funny. A lot of times they're just like, and I'm like, they attack. That's just the way I do it now. It's fun. The reason I do like initiative, I like when we all roll initiative rolls. It's kind of fun, but I feel like it kind of stops the game, when we're getting into a story and then it becomes combat. So I don't know. I don't miss it. I miss it, but I don't miss it. And I like that we just flow. It just flows now quickly. So every turn is a maneuver and an action. That's it. I don't allow like 2 actions through. I want to get through the players quickly And if someone has 7 attacks on their sword, I now in the game mechanics, I just incorporate it as their to hit skill goes higher and higher. You know, they just increase their to hit skill, their one attack roll, and so 1 maneuver, 1 action. Now I do have free actions, but it's mostly talking and blessings, using blessings. So when the clerics and the clergy and the nun want to do a blessing, I allow them to do 1 per turn at any time. They could do it on their turn, on someone else's turn to help them, but they're like, oh, may you not be hurt. You know, may the Lord protect you. That's a blessing. May you persevere for the Lord. That's like a heal. You know, it's that kind of a thing. It's a free action, but they only get to do 1 per turn. Generally speaking, I'm lenient on that, on blessings. The one blessings I'm tough on is the glory for the paladin when they want to add extra to the damage. I believe that one, just I'm strident on that one, that they declare it before they attack, and if they miss, they lose the glory point. You know, the faith point that they used for the glory, because that's one where you get to actually add to the damage of the weapon with your blessing. I try to make that rare that you can improve the damage of a weapon. You do not get your prowess on the bonus for the damage of the weapon. Just so you know, you only get it for the to hit. And that's something I'm sticking with because I just like it. You could, if you wanted to make things more damagey, do that. Add the prowess trait to the damage as well. I just don't want to do it because I want there to be, the way I like it now. I don't know. It's 50-50, I guess, on that one, but I'm keeping it the way I am. Nat 1 foibles. Awesome. D20, Nat 20. This is when you can inflict grievous wounds, and they happen quite a bit, and they're very scary. So I love that about this game. When you get a Nat 20, it's scary. That's it, man. This is the rules. This is the combat. This right here, denouement, is very important. The denouement, and this is awesome, is that you can start asking the GM to roll a denouement roll on the enemy, and they will start to surrender or back up or give up, So I love that. And I do a die rank thing, right? I base it on, here's the die ranks right here. Lowly foes only get a D4. So if anything bad happens, they're generally going to flee, right? Because the 1 through 4 is basically surrender or move away or, back off. Hirelings and warriors, D6. They're going to, so only a 5 is 6 and above is keep fighting and die, want to die, right? 5 is steps back, but still combative. Still like, but I'm not going to fight you. But yeah, if you do anything, I'll fight back. That kind of thing. 4 is they're going to move away, but looking for a way out. But they're not surrendering. They're just trying to look for a way out and get out of there. The rest, though, are basically surrendering things. Okay. So again, these I should put these as die ranks, but this D6 is basically die rank, hireling warrior. So I will add die ranks to that. Based on whether they got a sorcerer next to them, they're in their ritual place, they're in their temple, blah blah blah. The sorcerer has cast a blessing on them, or black magic on them, made him crazier. I will increase this D6 to a D8, D10, D12, whatever die rank, whatever factors, so that they will not surrender. Okay, so that's denouement here. It's really, and once they do start surrendering, that's the opportunity to evangelize violent enemies. So. Game mechanics. So I talk about skill tests, curses, die ranks here. It's all the same kind of thing. You get your die ranks, D4, D12, D4, D6, D8, D10, D12, and then if it goes past 5 die ranks, you just divide by 5. It's very simple actually. It looks complicated, but it's so simple. If you have 12 die ranks, you've added all these things together. You got blessed. You use an inspired die. You use your skill. You got the high ground. Whatever it is, you have 12 die ranks. Okay, what is that? Well, divided by 5. It's a D12. D12, D12, and then 2 left over is a D6. So you get to roll the D20 plus whatever trait it is that it goes with that combat skill or regular skill, and then a D12, D12, and a D6. Yeah, D6. And this is just keep the highest. This dice pool. And trust me, a D12, D12, and a D6, I've seen them fail. If you've seen them still fail, because you could roll a 3, 3, and a 4, and then your D20 could be a 3. And you've failed. You got the D20 is a 3. You pick a 4 out of the dice pool, and your plus 4 from your traits is a 12 or 11, whatever, and you failed. So you could still fail, and that's what's awesome about the dice pool. I know it seemed, and for kids too, and new people that have never played, it's tough. It's a tough sell, but it really is I'm gonna say this. Shadow Dark has a very simple game mechanic, so it's very easy to get in the game, right? Shadow Dark, and same with a lot of OSRs. So this is not a take on Shadow Dark, but I've been recently seeing Shadow Dark on my YouTube thing and the criticism and fight. There's a fight or whatever, but they say that when you go to conventions, everyone's playing Shadow Dark because it's so easy to get into, and that's fine. Then admitted by the designer, in a video I did watch on an interview, she said that you can't go past 12. It breaks the game. It doesn't, level 12 rather, or level 10. Sorry, level 10. I have solved it with this. So this is my solve in my game, is that you can go. There's no levels. You just keep adding skills, and you just keep increasing them. And as you increase them, they get more expensive, and they become this sort of keep highest dice pool. So you don't always get it. When you're upgrading your skills, it becomes diminishing return type of thing, right? You still get a little better, but it doesn't get ridiculous. And that's what I've noticed about combat. I am at a point now where I'm pretty good and pretty high in the combat, but a new guy can still beat me. Statistically speaking, I will win every fight, one-on-one. But a new guy can come in and beat me, and very quickly, though, they can get close to me as far as skill, right? I'm not going to improve dramatically beyond a certain point, right? They're going to get to a certain point where they can start fighting me with pretty decent skills as they get their experience. So that's, this is what this equates to. I'm at this point in my skills. I'm not going to jump much higher. I mean, I'm pretty much, this is where I'm staying. I'm not going to get better than already being really good, So the young people that are coming up are going to catch up to me, as I dwindle away as an old guy. That's how this correlates. So the young guys could have a D20 plus their prowess of +4 because they've been hardcore working out, and they could have a D12, right? I might have 3 D12s and they have 1 D12, but see, so statistically I might be beating them for a little while, but they could still beat me with their roll, kind of thing. All right, die rank results is really awesome. I use it a lot now. I really, once you get comfortable with the game, you start using die rank results a lot, and it's just based on what you decide. And what it is basically is when you pick a number they got to beat, it's how high you roll can get you more success. And I might even do this like in the 3rd edition for the combat too. But how high you roll above the target number will then give you some die ranks for like prayer. If you need a 12 to succeed at your prayer, and you roll a 22 total with all the bonuses and die ranks and stuff that you add, you're all together, that's a die rank. You're in church, 2 die ranks. You light some candles. It's a little pagany, but okay, 3 die ranks. But they're really nice and were really beautiful, and they're given to me by my mother. Okay, fine. I'll give you a die rank for that. Whatever. Someone sings some psalms, like they pull out no. But let's say they roll a 22 total. That's 10 above the 12, so 10. So half of that is 5 die ranks. So then that 5 die ranks that the person can split up amongst the party. So they each get some inspired die or whatever. So that's how that works. For healing, the same numbers. Let's say they get 5 die ranks, they get to roll that and then heal the person D12. Now I know that's kind of lame because what if they roll a 1? They rolled it really high, they got 22, then but I'm keeping it, man. That's how it works. You choked a little. But if you get a dice pool in the die rank results for healing and repairs, I will allow you to add up all those dice. So let's say they get a 28. 28 minus 12 is 16. So that half of that is 8. 8 die ranks. Ooh, so that's a D12 and 3 left over, D8. So they can roll a D12 and a D8 and add that to the heal, the vitality of the person they're trying to heal. And that's like a doctoring first aid type of thing, And vitality to me in the game is bruises, cuts and bruises, and exhaustion. It's not like a grievous wound. It's the tiring things and the skid marks and the skin fall off. You still fight and still pain, but you can patch that up and good to go again. So that's what vitality refers to, is the just exhaustion, pain, cuts and bruises, and giving up because you can't fight anymore. Okay, so same with surgery, prayer, cooking. I already explained all that. What else? Let's move on. Damage. So like I said, grievous wounds. I kind of explained grievous wounds. Healing. You can recover your vitality just by resting. It's just a D4 plus your prowess or spirit. Again, the other conditions where fear is, kind of straightforward. When fear ends, if a demon or cosplay, troll looking characters come in and scare the missionaries, and they fail a fear roll, or a giant bear or whatever, the duration is just based on change of conditions for the GM. So the GM kind of decides when their fear goes away. If someone stabs the bear and it wails in pain, I could say, okay, your fear is gone now. You're back in it. So it's that kind of a decision making thing. Affliction is based on really bad stuff like poisons and disease, and so that has to do with grievous wounds. Exhaustion is just the you don't die from exhaustion, but you can get exhaustion and it can be at penalties. Dying, I got life saves in here somewhere. Where's the life saves? Oh, life saves here. Damaging vitality and life saves. So if you go to 0, you get life saves, and you could die. If you keep failing it. That's it. Okay, faith points, blessings. I've explained this in another video, but I'll go real quick. The main one is deliverance, heal, bless, protection. How much do you want to heal them? How much do you want to bless them? How much do you want to protect them? For D4, D6, D8, D10. I want to do D12. I want to roll D12. Okay, that's 5 faith points. Okay, so that's basically it. That's kind of simple. You could do that. I want to heal them for D12, 5 faith points. And your faith points, you get every encounter, every extreme thing. You get to, you might have a 4 spirit and 5 die rank skill in faith points. So that's a D12. So you roll a D12, add that to your 4. Let's say you roll a 6. So you get 10 faith points to use in that encounter. And when that encounter is done and you get a moment of rest, just, at least a moment, and then someone else comes in and attacks, I will, you can reset your faith points or start over again. So, so you get that every time. There's also faith points for the day, which really refers to for a period of time the GM decides, that they can use when they're rebuilding church, or when they're when they're resting. I mean, for the day is over a day, or it's when they're not in an encounter. I didn't mean to yell. When they're not in an encounter, they can use their faith points for the day, and those don't reset until the GM decides. It could be a day, it could be more than a day, depending on if they're in a dungeon type of setting. Yeah, sure, we can do every day. If they're rebuilding the church over a period of a month, I would only reset them maybe once or twice, during that month period. That's how that works for me. Okay, so their faith points also can be spent on deluge. How many do you want to affect? I want to heal them for D12. Well, there's 3 of them are hurt. Do you want to try to get all 3? Yeah, I want. All right, you can roll a D4. That's, maybe a D6. You could try to get all 3 of them. Yeah, D6. Okay, so you want to heal them for D12. That's 5, and you want to do it on 3 of them. So you're going to roll a D6, which is 2 faith points. So it costs you 7 faith points to try to heal all, and you're going to roll a D6. Let me just, for the fun of it, I'm going to roll a D6 just to show you how this plays out. A 4, so you can heal up 3 of them, and no one else is hurt, so only the 3. So you got 3 of them, and each of them gets a D12 for healing. Yes, and basically he's like, you all must persevere for the Lord. You all must, so that's kind of like the way that I visualize that is the clergy is really giving them, a second wind of vitality to continue on in the fight, kind of thing. That's what deluge does. And duration can be that, I want to do it for a couple of rounds, and the person needs to decide this all beforehand. And I'm finding this difficult though. Some of the players, well, it's because they're one shots, so they wouldn't know. But as you play the characters, I really want to make sure that the clergy really understand these concepts, because when they do, I don't need to do anything. I don't need to look up any spells or explanations. I mean, by the way, the explanations are right here. They're all pretty basic and simple. But it's all about just understanding the deliverance, deluge, duration, duress. Distance is free. Distance is really based on how many faith points you put into it. And I'll say you can, if that person did that, the healing of the 3 people, that's a lot of faith points. So it could be over this entire, big area. The one over there, one here, and one there. They all hear you. They all get their second wind. I will allow that. I won't even worry about the range, the distance. Duress is you want to add to the resistance. I do not have regular minion warriors resist, but witches and sorcerers can resist. So you can add and there's only a few things that they need to resist against. I think preach, which is meant to be preaching to the crowds, not necessarily directly to the witches, but I guess you can preach to them. But so they get it. You might. Well, no, preach is actually an exception, because the actual preach itself is the duress, right? You're literally how well you preach is what they have to resist. So the deliverance and duress in that one are technically combined. The one, for instance, rebuke is the same way. Exorcism, that's one. Exorcism is you use the duress because like a demon, you're adding to the duress for how much they got to resist it, or they're going to be take the damage, whatever. So I guess duress and deliverance can kind of be interchangeable depending on the specifics of the thing. So I didn't really even think about it that way, but technically, yeah, duress and deliverance are kind of similar, because if you do rebuke, they got to resist against the deliverance, which is the duress. So it's I did not even think of that. This video just literally gave me this realization. I'm not going to change it right now. Maybe for the 3rd edition. Oh, I actually have an errata right here. I've been keeping notes. Let me do that right now. I'm going to type that in, so I can kind of update things. Isn't duress really just deliverance based on the blessing? Now I know there are some nuances in some of the blessings and magics, so I'm gonna have to really examine that. So I'm almost done with the rules, and I'm going into detail. So paladin, he's got these things that are very similar to D&D paladins, but obviously evangelism and church planting. And woman's touch is specifically for women. They always get a separate little D4. Okay, this is a cleaning skill. A man can do cleaning. He does not get that extra D4. I know this from personal experience. So this extra D4 is separate from all the dice pools and everything, okay, that a woman gets. But a woman can do cleaning. Well, what the heck is cleaning? See, absolutely. If you're a husband and a father, you know how important cleaning is, and a woman can really deals with that. So let's say you guys are fighting and you need a rest period, and the woman can say, I'm going to clean this area up so they have a nice resting area. I'm like, oh, roll your cleaning skill. And she rolls it, and that's a die rank result. And so that die rank result could be used. Now, let's say she got 5 die ranks. She cleaned the area up. 5 inspired, or 5 die ranks she got. I'm like, what do you want to use that for? You can use it for your cooking. You can use it for the warrior to rest. You can use it for a prayer because the place is cleaned up so that they can, it's all in order. You know what I mean? That's what you can do with these type of things. Details and comeliness. A woman can dress herself up because they're going to go investigate. They're going to go talk to the local duke or baron. She's going to make herself comely with her dresses and makeup, and then get those 5 die ranks to use on her skill, or her civil stuff or whatever. And I might even make that. You get 5 die ranks for every thing you do, society-wise, at this event. That's pretty powerful. That's what details and comeliness is all about. Distraction, feigning. Anyway, you get what I'm saying with this. This stuff is going to work for women, and it makes women play the game like a woman. Now they can still have dangerous daggers and crossbows, and they can wield a battle axe, but they know in the end they're going to be weaker, especially because of vitality and their prowess. They can only get like a 4 prowess at the most, and I even think 4 is too high. But their vitality is going to be super low. The way you get vitality is if as a warrior you have 12 hit points vitality, you divide it by 4, and divided by 4 is 3. So it costs you 3 glory points to get another D6. For the woman, it costs her the same, but she only gets a D4 to roll every time. So you divide it by 4, whatever that is the glory point cost, and then you get a D6 for men and a D4 for women, and no rerolls. You get a 1, you get a 1. That's it. I'm done. Glory points. Think about that. Again, 1 page. I'm adding this up. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. These are infographs. 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. That's not even 1. 14, under 20 pages of rules. Under 20 pages. I obviously in the GM section I have treasurer, loots, and getting things done, but they all kind of correlate and relate back to the game mechanics and the rules, all this stuff. So that's it. It's less than 20 pages of rules. I mean, I guess they're big pages, 8.5 by 11, but plenty of them have infograph and extra little fun little lists and stuff. So it's a very simple game system, but it works. It's very expansive. It covers all the ground, kind of. The die rank results covers a lot. Repairs, engineering, research. It's cool, fun, and GM, you kind of work it out. And the biggest way to do this is to just do it and work it out with your players, and have them help you with the rules and have you guys figure it out together. And that's trial by fire is the best way to do it. This game is about doing this, evangelism, church planning, creating a fellowship, and hopefully a ministry for you. If you're into RPGs as a Christian and you love RPG role-playing games, this game will help you. I would love for you to have fellowship in this with other Christians, and then you guys together and gals form a ministry, like a youth ministry, a youth group, a church night, game night thing, where you just have these kind of fun things. And this is supposed to be a training in secret, a evangelist training thing, because the world is the way it is, and it's been really bad. It's getting bad. Our churches are being burned. Our churches are being erased. Our Christianity is being persecuted, even in our own country, across the West, by the pagans, by the secularists. And, I should make a ranting video on that. But we need to wake up, and I think this and my focus is in the RPG culture. We need to wake up, and we need to push back on the paganism that has taken over the RPG culture, and assumes that we Christians need to be silent. I don't think we should be silent. We should have our faith on our sleeve, on our face, on our shoulder, whatever, on our sleeve. So in the game of life, and I forgot to mention that I have a Kickstarter. I'm doing these videos to promote the game for the Kickstarter, and I forgot to mention this at the beginning of the game. So I'm going to add that on. I have to in the post. Okay, in the game of life, roll holy dice.